And that t-shirt was how I made $1 million last week.
Sick,
Oh, hey,
dude.
what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Investing Bros. It is the live show. It is 3 p.m. I did not make $1 million last week. I have to admit that was a lie. But, I wish I did. And this community is used to a lot of lies. I'll tell you what's not a lie. Bitcoin is still pumping at the moment. We just touched, within the last 5 minutes, 57,600. Cooling off a little bit here, but I feel a pump coming, not just for Bitcoin, but for other altcoins as well. We're going to dive in and take a look at some charts today, take a look at some news, let you know some coins that I'm looking at right now that I'm bullish on in the short term. With that said, though, you got to watch the entire video to get all of that alpha. Before we get there, I do have to introduce. I didn't even drink anything crazy today, guys. I'm drinking water. I've had no caffeine today. I don't know why I'm all over the place. But I'm introducing my co-host for the show, Mr. T-Shroom from down there in Gainesville, Florida. T-Shroom, how are you feeling? You caffeinated up? You feeling the hype today?
You stole the words right out of my mouth, Tim. I am more caffeinated than I deserve. For those of you who watch the morning show, I was a little chill. I was a little low energy. Are we going to be able to tune it up for the 3 p.m. stream? We'll see. Well, I've got a very exciting, a very electrifying quote here to give us an extra jolt. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Thomas Edison, of course, referring to his journey in discovering how to make the light bulb work.
The good old light bulb. Yeah.
You feel energized from that one, Tim?
I don't like light. So no. A lot of people, I think I might be broken, T-shirt. I think I'm broken because you know how they say scientifically, if you live in a place that's like cold and dark, that depression actually ticks up for that population?
Yes.
For me, it's hot and bright.
Okay.
I get depressed when it's bright and hot. I prefer dark and cold. That actually brings me to light, bring me to life.
Okay.
As a whole. What about you?
You probably just have unusually high vitamin D levels. You may be able to synthesize vitamin D.
I was showing T-Shroom, guys.
Uh-oh.
I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I went and I got myself some vitamins today.
Yes.
I am a child. They are chewables because pills suck.
Tim, can I just point out to the audience what a pro he was there by not showing the logo label? Thank you, Tim.
Yeah,
you helped our legal team out there.
Until they pay us for the spotlight, I'll tell you, vitamin B12, vitamin D, and then this multivitamin with a lot of goodness. But you have no idea where I bought it from, what the brand of it is. If someone wants to pay us for that, I'm very open to that situation.
Yes.
But at the moment, cannot advertise that.
Yes. Yeah. Anybody who wants to advertise anything on our show, by the way, give us an email. Shoot us an email. Our email's on the YouTube about section or something like that. Shouldn't be hard to find. And let us know anything that you would like to present to a crypto educated audience who are looking to grow their bags, looking to grow their height. That's what I'm trying to do. So you got something to grow my height. Yeah. I'm thinking once I cash out in fall of 2025, I think I'm going to try to join the NBA. I think that's my next chapter.
Good idea. Well, T-Shroom, let's get in here. Let's take a look at the market. We're going to do some breaking news, then dive into the charts. Chat, if you're having a good day today, put a 1 in chat. If you're having a bad day today, tell us what's wrong. I really hope that you guys are having good days, but if not, let us know what's wrong, and we'll try to make your day a little better. We got some pumpage. We got some green 24 hours. Now, Bitcoin this morning was up 10% here in the 24-hour category, still up almost 5% over the last 24 hours, but of course, it's because we started pumping even yesterday, which is why we're down here a little bit. But great day for Bitcoin. I will say, though, T-Shroom, do you know what usually comes after big Bitcoin pumps?
Big Bitcoin dumps?
No. Usually it's altcoin pumps, but sometimes Bitcoin dumps. You could be right. There's a mixture of the two. Let's take a look at some other big gainers. How about this, guys? Listen. When it's time to poop on the coin, you poop on the coin. When it's time to give it a slap on the back and say, good for you, that's what we do here. XRP approaching 60 cents. Once again, up 7%, 7.5% in the last 24 hours. We're going to have to take a look at XRP. That is one of the tokens that I actually, believe it or not, was going to say, like, hey, look out for a pump here. I checked here like an hour ago, it was at 57. Of course, that's up from yesterday. It was closer to 54. So shout out to XRP. Good rally for the day. Cardano, a little modest, 1.44. Dogecoin up over 10% in the last 24 hours. Anything else popping off the chart? Shiba Inu. So the memes are making a little bit of a day today.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's take a look at the biggest gainers and biggest losers. Okay, yeah, it's meme day. It's meme day. And I will go ahead and let you guys know something bad.
Uh-oh.
Usually the ends of rallies are when meme coins start to make moves. So this is not, and not the end meaning we have to have a massive crash, but a lot of times the last thing to get all the money is the meme coins. And we talked about Doge and Sheeb doing well, but now we're coming up here and Pepe is the top mover, up 58% last 24 hours. I'm not going to give crypto a death sentence right here. I'm not going to say we have to dip in price. In fact, because a lot of things I'm looking at the charts are bullish, but I think it's something to be aware of. A lot of times when you're looking through the flows of how money goes into crypto, it goes into legitimate things based off of news or Bitcoin, of course, being the king of crypto. It flows through all the cycles, and then a lot of times it comes out the back end, and that's through the meme coins. That's just what I've seen in the past. Gala up 23%. Pith. Is it Pith? Is it Pyth? This is a hot debatable topic. We're going to say Pith because I want to.
It's whatever pronunciation gets more saliva on the person you're talking to. So Pith or Pyth.
And I think one of the silliest things I ever heard, I believe this was from a man I met named T. Shrim. He said, Tim, it's pronounced Pith because it stands for Python. So,
sounds like a wise man.
One way to think about it. Theta leading the AI markets up 15%, continuing that great run it started yesterday. And then, of course, here we go. Memes. Bonk, Sheeb, Doge, Bitcoin Cash. I know it's not supposed to be a meme, but I treat it like a meme from time to time. And then we have XRP doing very, very well, as well as Injective. Ooh, good to know. Let's see if there's any big losers today. Yeah, well, it makes sense that WorldCoin's down 12%. Their gains, everyone else's loss. So, that, of course, everyone else's wins or their losses down 12% on the day. Singularity Net continued to cool off after its own explosive week here. Still love it, though. This is a great opportunity. When you see red on Singularity Net, great time to be buying. Sui's also down 6% itself. Flare's had itself a phenomenal last 90 days, up 300% last 90 days, but down 5% today. H-bar as well down, and Near as well down here as well. Let's see what else we have in the space. T-shirt. Before we jump into the charts, is there anything breaking news that's not necessarily conversation topics, but just details people need to know about this afternoon?
Yeah, we've got some very exciting news out of the White House. We'll be covering that. It's going to make more sense just to lead into it and do it all, swallow it all at once. One thing I will point out on the charts that I've been taking a look at here is Compound. I shouted it out the other day on Piper Academy and kind of told everybody in the chat over there at Piper Academy about this breakout for Comp. And ever since then, it's done pretty well, up 33% today. 33% in these two candlesticks I'm not on the weekly chart for some reason. I'm not sure why, but anyway, that's kind of what I'm tracking.
Good. Yeah, very, very good. Any news you got? Is that it for the news? Just Compound news?
Yeah, Compound in the White House. The White House can't keep its mouth shut about stuff, so we'll be talking about it here in just a few minutes.
We'll have to talk about it here in just a couple minutes. Let's go ahead and take a look at the charts this fine afternoon. I put out a video this afternoon at noon. Go check it out about Bitcoin and a potential bull trap setup. However, good news. We could have a lot further to go to the upside. I'm not going to spoil the video. Go check it out. I will say levels to keep your eye on. Of course, we're sitting at the 57, 6-ish, 5-ish level we talked about just yesterday. Did not think we'd get there in 24 hours, but here we are touching those levels once again. Next on, keep an eye on that $63,000 level. That's going to be not only the top of our platinum pocket, but really close to the top we had back in the spring of 2021. After that, we are talking about a potential move to double top up here back at our all-time high around $69,000. Those are significant levels, but again, I'm not going to spoil the video, but there's reasons to believe historically and based off the charts that a pullback should happen. And that's not to be bearish. That's just what happens in normal, healthy bull market trends it's very hard to go straight up and away. And I have a plethora of reasons as to why that should be coming sooner rather than later. Go check out that video. Let's spend the day looking at some other coins, though. Ethereum making a nice little pump up continually towards our targets. We've actually shouted out a lot of targets for altcoins that even though we haven't hit them yet, we're still well on our way. Of course, when it comes to Ethereum, we're sitting at 32.52, but we've kind of placed this target on the short end around 3,400, high end up here at 36, almost 3,700. Ethereum still well on its way. When we pull up our different oscillators, you can see here, daily chart, even though we got that red reversal, continue to pump here. Our Lux Algo oscillator, of course, Lux Algo, the best indicator out there. Go check it out if you want to be serious about your trading. Speaking of that, I'll mention something here in a second. Money flow still heading towards that bullish threshold. We are under bullish momentum here as well. Now, I will be keeping my eye out for a potential bearish divergence. That's what you have happen when you see the oscillator be lower. But what I'm saying, the RSI has already, even though being 100% overbought, canceled out bearish divergence. So what that means is potentially we have a little bit more ways with Ethereum, not just to set the first high, but grab the wrong thing here. Did not want to grab that tool. I want to grab my drawing tool. We could see Ethereum actually make a high, come back down, and then set a higher high with a lower high on the oscillators. Because what I'm seeing right now in the RSI is back up above those highs we had just a little bit ago. You love to see it for Ethereum if you're a fan of Ethereum. Let's check out what else Lux Algo is saying here on the daily chart. We are sitting in the take profit, but we could have a little further to go. That time I did not want to draw. I want to turn attention to weekly charts right now because a lot of the daily charts, we're hitting our take profits. We're doing what we want to do, but when I come out to the weekly chart, again, we have that massive order block in that same range and that take profit coming in around $3,700 for Ethereum. So I'm still looking at these larger time frames. I still think pullbacks are coming for these price actions. But if you think that we have to reverse today, if you're saying, dang, this rally's so great, I have to short it, be patient. It's not quite time that the charts are screaming short. That time will come. Let's take a look at a couple other coins here. I told you we would take a look at good old XRP. Let's move down Lux Algo and just take a look and appreciate the bullishness today. Now, we did break through a recent trending resistance level, not only that flat level there at 57, but this yellow line right here kind of representing the trend since these highs up here around early November. Now, we still have the longer time frame symmetrical triangle to be aware of. Again, I think that XRP could make a push here, but isn't it kind of interesting? Does this not scream manipulation to you, T-Shroom? That every single day there's some sort of bullish story about XRP. There's always some reason why XRP is about to do something bullish. And then today, there's a little bit of a negative news. Some of the headlines coming out, there's a new lawsuit that Ripple's facing. They're freaking out right now about that 400 million unlocked XRP that came out of nowhere. There's reasons for people to be a little more bearish, and all of a sudden, XRP starts pumping. That smells a little like manipulation to me, if you don't.
What was it? I missed it. I was blinking. What does it smell like?
Don't worry about it. It was a bad joke. But shout out to XRP and the XRP army. You finally are rallying after being suppressed. You're breaking through some trends. You love to see it. Now, let's check out some altcoins that I am excited about. Ethereum was already one of them, but let's take a look, though. I still think we got some further upside coming for our good old Dano. Some of you remember my video from, I believe, about a week and some change ago where I talked about the 75-cent region. Well, I think that could continue to expand here. Let's take a look. Let's go back to fixed range volume all the way from that all-time high to where we currently are. Let's take a look what we have. Again, remember, the volume gap is going to start somewhere here around 70 cents. We kind of got to get up to about 75, 77, give or take, before the volume starts getting interesting again. When we pull up our Lux Algo here as well, let's go out here to the weekly chart. You're going to see while we're right at the beginning of that take profit level, the midway point is coming there around that 77 mark. I still am looking at this saying I believe that 77 cents could be coming. Would we have any order? Let's go back to the daily chart. Was there an order block around that same level? Yeah. Order block coming in around 68, give or take. But again, look at my long-term dotted line. That's where I'm looking for a revisit to with Cardano. Let's see what the oscillators are saying on these longer time frames. Not overbought necessarily. The RSI has a lot further to go to the upside. MACD kind of flirting, but moving back bullish. And then let's zoom in here, is doing for us. After briefly turning from being super bullish with some bearish momentum, the money flow once again is positive. Bullish momentum here. No reversal, Dot. So this doesn't fulfill my massive longing strategy, but I like the fact that we are still positive and we're heading back up towards that bullish threshold. And again, the fact that we did break bearish, we served our penance, as you would say, out of this bearish little channel. Now it's moving back to the upside. And again, even though the memes are pumping today, I'm not gonna make my final decision. There's two things that happen: either Bitcoin pumps and the whole trend ends and everything starts to fall, which doesn't look like that's happening, or those heavy profits from Bitcoin flip into the altcoins that people love and hold dearly. Cardano is one of those. Again, still looking for a more macro move up towards the 75, 77 cents. Keep your eyes on it. Solana did not dip as low as I thought it would dip. Some of you know I called for a potential 95-cent move on Solana, but some people want to leave it at that as if I was just super bearish. I also talked about potentially Solana making a move back up here towards 126. And so after dropping down to about $98, we stopped. We have now broken the bearish trend. Some of you know, if I went to the 4-hour chart, we had ourselves a little head and shoulders pattern that could have sent us back down to these lows at 93 that we had back in February, back earlier in February, I should say. But now that we've crossed back above the neckline, I believe that we're looking right now potentially for a good setup of an inverse head and shoulders pattern. What we'd have to kind of watch play out is a nice formation of this right shoulder, but you can see with a left shoulder sitting right there, a nice head, and potentially the development of a right shoulder. This now we could then draw a new trend line. Let's go ahead and do this from this neckline to this neckline. You take the depth of head to that neckline and move it over to an extraction point. Shorter timeline, we're looking at a price prediction somewhere, depending upon the break. Let's actually move down here where it'd probably break out. Looking like 120, 126, 128 $8, kind of getting right there back to those highs we had in December would make a lot of sense here on the daily chart. Let's go back out here and see what Lux is saying. Our take profits way at that level. Let's see if there's order blocks. Just have our premium level. Let's go out to the weekly chart here. Again, it's still, yeah, there we go. Weekly chart screaming the take profit starts at that same order block, an order block that actually goes all the way back to March 28th of 2022. Take profit and order blocks in that area look to be something very important for Solana to keep an eye on. So again, those are still levels I'm looking at, expecting volatility along the way, but I do think we're heading up at those prices. I could keep going on. We've talked about Chainlink making its way back up towards $22. That's something I think that could happen. AVAX, we talked about at least coming back up to 40, if not making a move back above $50. We'll take a look at those later on in the Q&A section if people want to look at those. But for now, let's cool off on TA. We'll save some more of that for the Q&A. Let's get into some of these enticing articles, one of them being that Joe Biden loves Bitcoin.
Well, Tim, you're going to have to wait a couple more seconds because we actually have, it's not breaking news because it came out at 3 a.m. this morning, but it's just surfaced to me. How did I hear about it? Alex Jones. Alex Jones is live right now talking about this. Tim, it's a weird headline. Ukraine war, live updates. European ground troops could be sent to Ukraine in the future. France says. So I've been looking around. This is what it sounds like. And if there's
one group that knows exactly what America is going to do, it's France.
Well, no, it'd be French troops.
Oh, European troops. You said European troops. For some reason, I thought we were talking American.
Yep. No, I don't think that would be the next step.
I didn't know that France, to be honest, I didn't know France sent troops to places to fight.
Tim, I thought about this joke as well, except that there are actual troops that could be deployed here in the next little bit. So humor wasn't my first instinct. Not saying it's invalid, but yes, there's definitely a place here for a World War II reference of France taking the first step here.
I wasn't referencing World War II, but okay.
That's interesting. So, is it just this headline? This is from CNBC, first of all, like pretty reliable for sure. I have done some clicking around. You can do some clicking around for yourself, but I mean, it looks legit. It looks like Macron himself is actually getting called for impeachment. People are actually wanting him to be impeached because he said this. He said ground troops, France, Russia, all in the same sentence. Just not in a language I can understand. But we do have a big story here. It is from the White House. Tim, any other thoughts on this headline here about potential escalation in the European theater?
No, I think it's something that I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen, but at the same time, I think that has a lot more to do with recent interviews held by certain Americans that are potentially shedding some light on the situation that does not go the way that a lot of the liberal media wants you to believe about the Ukraine-Russia event as a whole. So it's always hard to know when a government makes a public statement what part of it is BS and what part of it is true, just to manipulate emotions and feelings of people. And I don't know where to draw that line.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's going to be interesting to see. We're not war correspondents here, so we're going to move on. But that is a bit of breaking news that's could be potentially significant. Let's go ahead and go on into these stories now, guys. I got to give you the context before I give you the headline here. This happened February 15th is when this was posted out. February 14th, these letters were posted out, essentially saying big breaking news. Bitcoin miners began receiving letters from EIA, forcing them to report sensitive data. This is going to be the Energy Department of the United States. They said that the miners who received these letters only have 10 days to respond to the request by the EIA or face huge fines or worse. So we are, I think, a day or two over that deadline. And we got this headline today from The Guardian. Didn't see too much other coverage of this for some reason, but U.S. judge halts government effort to monitor crypto mining energy use. Okay, so federal judge in Texas, thank God, says new requirement would cause irreparable injury to industry amid surging electricity usage. Okay, so this is how it's being presented here. And then today we get the clapback from the man himself, the top job over at the White House. Can you guess who it is, Tim?
Kamala Harris.
There you go. Says White House mining puts significant strain on the power grid. Fox Business reports. So when the grid goes down, Tim, whose fault is it?
Texas. Always blame Texas.
It's
a good segue from the joke I just made about the French story. It's hard to know what's the BS and what they're just trying to manipulate. Ultimately, on the surface, T-shirt, what I'm looking at is they can't get the judges and courts to back them up. So now they're spewing BS to sway as many public opinion people as possible, as much of the public as they can. I think they're going to fail, but that's all I see here. I see no reason to be afraid of this announcement. To me, this has a lot more to do with an admission of defeat than it has to do with anything serious. Because guess what? We have an election coming at the end of this year. At this point, I don't care who's sitting as a president, Republican, Democrat, or anything else. The election this year has a way to redo any. What they say at this point does not mean much to me because anything they do can be undone here in less than 12 months.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially my take too, guys. And it's like, at what point does Donald Trump start actually identifying that this could be where he gets some votes from the Democrat tech bros? Right? There's a lot of tech bros, a lot of CEOs of big companies, a lot of just software developer labor, the whole software development labor in America, all those people providing that service, not all of them obviously, but a good portion of them are kind of more democratic liberal thinking. Think, what's his name? Michael Bloomberg. They're kind of in that, kind of Andrew Yang. They're not down with a lot of the socialist, kind of further left stuff like AOC and Elizabeth Warren, but they're very much down with those politicians I just listed, Andrew Yang, Michael Bloomberg type Democrats. Donald Trump is just a half a step away from being like, Bitcoin, I'm orange already. Let's just go all in and just get the Bitcoin tattoo on the neck, right? I'm sure there's some folks who could spin that up with AI, but I don't know. I'm surprised that Trump isn't using it. Maybe that is going to be a Trump card that he could pull out later on in the elections. Yeah. But yeah, now listen. You're listening.
What percentage of the country right now, T-Shroom, would you imagine is pro-crypto versus okay, there's going to be a section of the population that is pro-crypto. There's a section that's anti-crypto. And then I would imagine the majority of the United States is completely neutral. They have no opinion one way or the other.
The majority of the United States, if pressed, it's depending how the statistical question gatherings is set up, right? If the question is, do you believe that the dollar should be weakened by a neutral currency, right? People are going to say no. U.S. dollar, that's what I own, right? Yeah. But if you ask, is a fixed supply asset better than a infinitely printable supply asset? And they're going to be like, well, first of all, I don't know what that means. But once you explain it to them, they'll be like, yes, every time. Right. So I think the average person is just neutral. Neutral unless you word the question like you're going to lose money because USD is what you have. Like, but if you word the question a different way, you're going to get. And I think the average person, if explained to, gets orange pilled. That's why so many people are buying Bitcoin, because it's better, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing: if there was a time to convince people to dislike the U.S. dollar and to want some sort of change, this is it. Like, you're absolutely right. And I'm not. Again, we're not going to get into the details. I don't think it's hard to factor in who T-Shrew and I would prefer to win the presidency, but ultimately, whoever you guys vote for in the future, that's up to you. Go vote. Do what you feel your conscience tells you to do. But either candidate, Biden, Trump, or RFK running independent, and he is kind of running with this thought process. This is the time to press on the wound. I mean, are we not watching Americans fall apart? Like, I know some of them are actors, but if you scroll through like TikTok or Instagram or something, you don't have to scroll very far to find someone making some sort of joke or crying on camera about their financial situation. I mean, I've seen several T-Shroom of like these moms, and they're like, I was told to go to college. I have a job that pays $120,000 a year. I have 3 kids, and we can't, like, we literally have to shop at the dollar store. We can't go on vacations. I can't afford yada, 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 yada. And it's one of those things that's like, I don't think saying, yeah, America's number one, U.S. dollar is awesome, is going to work for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are like, no, U.S. dollar sucks. It's not working for me. I'm not living the American dream. This is the time to go ahead and put the finger in the wound and say, yeah, the American dollar sucks. It's time for at least something to change to make the U.S. dollar powerful once again. Mm-hmm. And I think whatever candidate can kind of take that side could win big with some of the more neutral voters.
Yeah. I think so too. Oh, what was that? I don't know what that was, but it was Vivek. So ultimately, guys, one other thing I want to say: you're watching from Nigeria. What you're watching from the UK, you're watching from South Africa, Brazil. T-Shroom, I do not care about your U.S. elections. I want Bitcoin to go up. I want to know what the best altcoin is to buy so that I can get rich. I get it. We get it. However, the elections are both something that are going to affect Tim and I's social media lives, at least, and then probably lives in our taxes and things like that. But it's also going to impact crypto. Now, we are going to very much limit ourselves. We don't really cover the election stuff, until there's a meme about it, until freaking Joe Biden gets on our actual Twitter threads and starts saying Bitcoin bad. Then we're gonna bring it up. But we do shelter you guys from a lot of BS political stuff that ultimately does not affect your crypto portfolio or really your TradFi portfolio either. So you're welcome. Tim, what do you want to do? Yeah. We're gonna have a lot of time here. We got through the stories really quickly. I think I over summarized. But it's really interesting. I mean, this saga, miners are important. Miners are an important part of the Bitcoin network, obviously, right? The federal government was like, yo, you need to start reporting the location and the hash rate of all of the miners. And the miners were like, we're taking you to court. And they did. And the judge was like, yeah, that's super weird. Why would you need the hash rate and the location of miners? And then Biden's like, well, because mining is a significant strain on the U.S. power grid, and considering what we have scheduled this year, we don't want to take any risks with the power grid. So that's kind of the story. That's kind of the way it's crumbling here. I do have one more headline before we go ahead and jump into whatever's next. I'm reading
chat. We're going to be able to have a lot of chat engagement today. Eric Wallen said, Tim found TikTok. I'd pay to see Tim's TikTok algorithm. How much would you pay?
How much? That's interesting.
I'll hear out offers.
Tim,
I can tell you right now, it's going to be a lot of sports talk. There's this one group, and they're like on every other post, so I followed them. But T-Shroom and I found a group, and I shared it with T-Shroom, and now we both fall in love with them. There's these 2 Australian guys who do these skits, and it's hilarious. Like, they talk about how terrible the Australian economy is and how hard it is to live, and they're hilarious. So you're going to see a lot of them. And what else is on there? Crypto. I'll get some crypto guys on there. It's really not interesting, but if you're willing to pay for it, I will send it to you. I can share the script.
Let us know. Obviously, this isn't going to happen, but what would be really interesting is drop a 1 in chat if you think this is a good idea. At 1, actually drop an X in chat and let me know how much would you pay monthly for an app where you could download or access the suggested from your favorite person? So like Dr. Phil's Instagram suggestions, and it's all just like dad quotes. I think that would be a really fun app. I don't know that I'm paying $100 a month for it, but I think it'd be fun. It'd be really interesting. Oh, let's see what Oprah, what hers is. And like, anyway, kind of funny.
Listen, it looks like Army Piper's out here doing all the dirty work of research. I'm not going to read it out, but you can go to chat and read the recent post by Piper.
Oh, Piper. I was reading
what an
that.
Interesting statistic.
I was reading that with such an innocent expectation. And I got to the last word and I was like, oh,
gets there. Yeah.
You had me in the first half. All right, Tim. Well, speaking of the first and second half, yesterday was a record setting, and now we're trying to figure out, is today going to be record setting? BlackRock Bitcoin ETF heads for a second consecutive day of over 1 billion in volume. I don't know where I would find this data to be able to confirm this quite yet, but I'm sure we'll find out tomorrow live. IBIT, which is the BlackRock iShares spot Bitcoin ETF, was the fifth most traded among all U.S. listed ETFs during the morning hours. Pseudonymous HODL 15 Capital noted in an X post, adding that Fidelity's Bitcoin ETF also experiencing strong trading volume. So this is important because it's like BlackRock's hitting a lot of records of Bitcoin purchasing, and not a lot of people are paying attention. I mean, this opens up the conversation to eventual centralization and things like that. But this is 2 days in a row of record-setting buying of that ETF. So it's either like their salespeople are just rolling in these fat commissions and they don't want to stop selling. They have nothing that they can make more money off of than this ETF. I have a feeling that's the case. Or there's something that's changed, right? And to be honest with you guys, not a whole lot changed. Like there was a bunch of liquidations, but that was kind of like maybe not the chicken before the egg. I think the really only thing here is that Michael Saylor bought another 3,000 Bitcoin. So I'm not really sure, Tim. What do you think? Do you think we're going to hit another $1 billion volume of this?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think we're going to see a lot. The question is when, and also, so I think a lot of people in this chat and our community, and I think that we have a very, I'm not going to say that we have the oldest community in the world, but most people have been in this game now for at least 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years. I saw a comment the other day that I thought was actually very intriguing. It was like kind of a insult, but then a compliment, and then your channel. So he pretty much said, he's like, you guys strike me as the guys who got in at the top last cycle and bought the $69,000 top. But then as your portfolio's gone down, you have learned a lot more, and now you're having neutral conversations. You're not overly bullish, you're not overly bearish. You've learned your lesson, and now you're ready to really help people. So I was like, okay, so you're saying we're kind of idiots that learned our lesson, and now we're beneficial. Love it. It's not true. I mean, I know both. I think T-Shroom, you might have bought the top. Did you buy the top?
Tim, he is describing me to a T-Shroom.
Okay.
Because I literally, remember when I got hired over at Crypto Jeb, that was the top. Like we're only 3 or 5% from the top when I got hired. I was coming in, trading stocks, just dropped into the mega bull arena over at Crypto Jeb. You guys are like Bitcoin, and I was Bitcoin to 1 million, and I was like, I have $5,000, and so I rode it all the way down. But obviously, I bought way more at lower prices than I did at the top. Yeah. Look, I will wear that buying the top with pride. Absolutely.
And that's my point is, I think I got in 2020. I didn't call the top, so I haven't purchased a single Bitcoin over the price of 50,000 at this point. I would have, because I didn't think that was the top, and I think that's a good representation of a lot of people in our community. With no insult, again, I think a lot of people like T-Shroom did buy up there, close to, if not at the top. You've learned your lesson, but now you're mature enough to understand the gotchas. You're mature enough to understand, hey, this is an appropriate buy level for Bitcoin, and this is not. This was a long conversation for me to kind of point the question. With these new institutional investors coming in and people that have not been following the market, what is considered an overextended Bitcoin? Like, put in chat right now. If we get to $60,000 this weekend, will you be I'm not talking about your DCA strategy necessarily. I'm talking about you take extra money out. How many of you are biting at the bit to buy a $60,000 Bitcoin? Put a 1 in chat if you want to buy at 60,000. Put a 2 in chat if you're like, no, I want to wait for lower levels, right? And some of you are going to try to skew with my point, and you're going to do things vice versa. But my point is, I'm interested to hear what institutions think. Are institutions just listening to Michael Saylor when Michael Saylor says, I'm going to hold forever? And are they listening to Larry Fink when Larry Fink talks about how Bitcoin, what's the exact phrase he uses?
Flight to quality.
A flight to quality. So are they sitting here saying, oh, I have to get in now. I have to buy Bitcoin now. Those of us in this chat, we know, no, like the time to buy Bitcoin was months ago. This is the time to start slowing down and appreciating all of the buy orders you've made before and potentially looking for the 20, 30, 40% dips, and then you buy in more and let those ride to the top. I'm curious what institutional buyers or newer retail investors think is an appropriate buy price for Bitcoin. When you're new and you're kind of, you haven't been around long enough, you would have thought November of 2021, Bitcoin's really bullish. Yeah, it's at 69,000, but screw it. We're going to 100,000, so it's good buy, right? We've learned our lessons, but the institutions or the new buyers, they have not because they're new to the game. What is their level? Is it 100K? Is it 150K? Is it 200K? Like, what to them is like, that's a little much for Bitcoin. I'm going to cool off on buying. That's going to kind of really help dictate how explosively these ETFs continue to grow and how high price will get.
Yep.
Because that's just it. When the price goes up, demand should drop because people are going to be less likely to buy those higher prices.
Well, something kind of similar to that conversation, Tim, was something I tweeted out today. Actually, just about an hour before we went live, I said, when Bitcoin pullback, I didn't define pullback, which would have been courteous to those, engaging in the poll. But I said post-halving, pre-halving, or no pullback before 80K. Post-halving technically is tied with no pullback at all. So, and this was as a response to after watching your video that you put out, because it seemed like you kind of concluded that it would be during the halving / after the halving, post halving.
We're spoiling some of the video. Go watch it after the live is over. But yeah, I think we potentially could see a repeat of what 2016 looked like. A lot of people are looking at 2020 and saying, "Oh, we're going to be like 2020." I don't think we'll repeat 2020. I think 2020 kind of looked a lot like 2012, and 2024 is going to look a lot like 2016.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. Tim. Well, we've got through the stories. We've gotten through a couple of different breaking news. I mean, that was kind of crazy with France saying some things. We're hearing a lot from federal governments today in crypto. But let's go ahead and jump on into the factoid of the day, and then we'll head on into the questions, any Q&As you guys have. We're going to have about 40 minutes, maybe even a little more. Go ahead and let us know. What tickers do you want us to take a look at? I've already gathered a couple. People asking, Ryan Lavlant said, "Is that my guy Smay from Jeb's show?" I wish I was Smay. I really do. I'm not, but we are both. We are from Jeb's show. Correct.
We're good friends. We're good friends with Smay.
Yeah. So
I had a phone conversation with him. Just so you guys know, he doesn't watch the show because he works in his time. I am trying. Make sure there's no one listening. I'm trying to twist Smay's arm into potentially coming on to Saturday show. So if you follow his social media, you should just randomly start flooding him on any platform you can with, hey, you need to go on Investing Bros every Saturday now. And it's a long-term plan to try to eventually maybe bring Smay into the threshold. We don't have a salary to pay him at the moment, but someday when we're making big bucks,
or salary,
hire Smay to come back. Yeah, if we make enough salary. He does like salary, actually.
He does. Yeah,
maybe
we don't have either celery or salary for him yet, so it's gonna be a little bit, but maybe not that long. So
Gustavo asked the turtle. Yes, the Turtle King himself. We're trying to get him to become a bro.
Well, Tim, we've already got a couple questions in the chat. These are from earlier. Fetch.ai, Graph, and Vchain. So those will be good. I'd love to get your thoughts on comp, but I can get your thoughts.
Let's do the factoid. I saw another question I thought was interesting, but let's do the factoid of the day, and then we'll
absolutely
get into Tim, the good old Q&A.
Today, I've actually got a factoid that's going to really take you by surprise, It's going to be really crazy. Today, it's actually brought to you by Decrypted.tax. Guys, if you traded or invested in Decrypted in any kind of decentralized currency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, any kind of crypto, you want to head on over to the tax pros over at Decrypted.tax to book your free consultation. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose, really. They're pros over there. They do a great job. Tim and I both trust them with our taxes, both corporate and personal. Do you trade stocks? Did you invest in real estate? They can handle that too. Head on over to the pros over at Decrypted.taxes for 25% off their tax services. Tell them that the Investing Bros sent you and click the link in the description. Tim, who was the inventor of USB technology, AJ V. Bhatt, was born in what country before moving to the United States? Was it Sri Lanka, Djibouti, India, or Canada?
I have no freaking idea.
How do you not know this, Tim?
A JV bot was born in what country?
Because
Because here's what's crazy is, like, I'm trying to think of like what that name would make, but he could be of any nationality and born in a different country. Go back to my options. Your heart just wants to say B just for more talk about Djibouti. But logic.
Yep.
Logic would say this is a technical advice.
Yep.
And I hope that no one deems this racist, because it's positive racism if it is. What grouping of people seem to be on top of the tech world? It would be
so
people
racist,
from the
Tim.
continent of Asia. Asians are just way better with technology on average than the rest of the world.
Asia plus California, yes.
I know Djibouti is in Africa and Canada is in North America. I
True.
have no idea where Sri Lanka is.
That's okay.
But C, India would mean Asian was responsible. AJ Bot sounds like it could be an Indian name.
All right, Tim, you got to stop stalling.
I'm starting to get enough of the group chat, and that's what exactly I was going for. India C is my final answer.
That was shameful, Tim. Very shameful, but you did get it right.
Yes!
Yep. Here he is, folks. AJ V. Bhatt. He is extremely wealthy, and he got wealthy so easily. All he had to do was invent the USB technology. Man, come on. You could do that. Indian-born American computer architect who defined and developed several widely used technologies. The USB, Universal Serial Bus, is what that stands for. Now, one little side note here. This is a factoid that the Factoid Elf has been sitting on for quite some time, has been very excited, waiting for us to get above $57,000 per Bitcoin. That last part was a lie, but the truth was the beginning. The Factoid Elf has been excited about this one because it's like one of those little bits of knowledge that only the Factoid knows. The Factoid Elf knows. So there you go. Tim,
there was a chat here that I wanted to read that I thought was interesting. I'm trying to find it again. Zachary Martin said, "When do you think Capo is buying till?"
Capo, yeah.
Capo. When do you think
waiting to buy?
What if Crypto Capo, however you want to say it? What if he has the greatest whodunit in the world?
What if he's Satoshi?
Where he realizes his meme lord level of getting things wrong a decent amount, especially when it comes to being bearish when you really should be bullish. What if he is bought in and he posts the exact opposite of how he's feeling at all times, similar to a Jim Cramer-esque strategy? Because if Jim Cramer's actually buying every time he says to buy and selling every time he says to sell, that's a broke man.
Or what if Capo is literally just run by what's his name, Michael Saylor? And just ironically, he's just been flooding the market the whole time.
He's an alias for Michael Saylor. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Michael Saylor.
I don't know him. I've never met him. And
is he anonymous or has he been?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Because that would be a pretty good prank, like an Elon or somebody. Although Elon isn't known for his technical analysis. So anyway, we've got some good tickers to explore here, Tim.
Yeah, let's do it. What
do you want to start with?
You name some.
Graph, Vchain, FET.ai.
GRT. The Graph. This is one of my new listings. I have some AI tokens I'm keeping an eye on. Theta, of course, leading that pack today. You guys can see him here that I'm watching. A lot of red today for AI tokens, except for Theta. But let's look at the graph. got a lot of, this is my chaos chart. This is my Kelly Kellum chart. All of my lines coming in very nicely here. Yeah, you love to see it. Let's say here, I mean, obviously we're rallying here. Keep an eye on this potential trend line we have going on right here with a move up closer to 50 cents. But let's take a look at what Lux is saying. By the way, I'm gonna do draft. I'm gonna do graph TA here, and then I want to take a break and float an idea to you guys to see if you want us to do it. I have a feeling you're gonna say yes, but to be fair, I want it to be your decision, not mine. Let's go back to my screen here. Graph hitting the take profit for the daily, but remember, right now I'm kind of liking what we're seeing on the weekly charts. Let's see what the weekly chart is saying from Lux of ALGO. Now there's no take profit or stop loss. That does hurt me, but it does have the red reversal coming in here again, closer, lower end around 37, the higher end up here to 67, but nice order block coming. Where did I say? 50 cents. So I'm not saying that we have to just explode to 50 cents, but there is some confluence up there. Let's go back to the daily chart though, back where we have some things. It is saying that we should have at least a cooling off period as we hit the red reversal. We're in the take profit for sure. Let's look at what our oscillators are saying. Oscillators, we just crossed bullish with a bullish threshold, even though the oscillator's coming down here with a red reversal and bearish momentum, bearish divergence there as well. Look at that money flow and look at the excessive buyers coming in. This, of course, because AI is hot. Hot commodity at the moment. So it's kind of canceling out. While there are indicators saying that we could move to downside, MACD looks to be moving sideways. We're 100% overbought on RSI. We peaked out and set up some bearish divergence with this first peak up at almost 90, but then we got a lower high with a higher high on the charts. Could see a small cool off when we look at these shorter time frames. Keep an eye here. Now, I've changed what I'm using with Lux Algo. I've started to use this. What is this called here? When looking at signals and overlays, let's go to inputs. The smart trail. The smart trail, you're going to find a lot of times actually can be significant support and resistance. Look for potentially a pullback to it somewhere closer to 21 cents. Even if we were to go to more recent bottoms, let's see what this is going to tell us. More recent bottoms with Fibonacci to this most recent peak. That would put us somewhere around the 0.5 level, so a 50% pullback. Pretty normal and healthy pullback for a rally that explosive. But again, on these larger time frames like the weekly chart, I really like that looking up towards 50 cents for the graph. It is one of the ones I'm more bullish on here. Was the graph? Let's see what the
graph. I thought
you
called it.
Were.
I thought you called it the giraffe.
The giraffe. The giraffe. They're not that long of a neck.
So is that how you pronounce it? Graph? I thought it was giraffe.
Okay. All right. You said the joke once. That's enough. That's enough there. Max supply, there is none. So that's not the greatest in the world. We are close in the circulating supply to total supply. So this one, I'm going to have to go ahead and say we need to do a little research, T-Shroom, on the tokenomics and the plan and what it takes. What are the rules on creating new tokens? If there are no rules, you've got to be afraid of that. But if they have stipulations and rules that limit when they can print new tokens, then this is one that could be interesting. But what I'm seeing here,
they've got a max supply listed on CoinGecko.
They do have a max supply. Well, no, that's okay. So let's do more research into it. But I think that's just saying that's what the total supply currently is. I don't think this is one that has a max supply. I think it technically is infinitely inflatable. So we need to do more research. But short term, again, look for pullbacks to around 21, 22 cents, give or take. But longer term move, I still think a healthy push towards 50 cents is in the cards for Graph. Now, we're going to look at some other tickers here in a second, get some eyes on those. The thing I want to mention to you guys, I want to bring this up. And first of all, I want to give a special shout out to some sponsors we have. Of course, you guys see us talking about the tax, Decrypt.tax. If you guys are looking to not get in trouble with the IRS and you've made a lot of money in crypto, you definitely want to use there. But special shout out to Blofin, our trading partner, and Lux Algo, our trading partner as well, but the technical analysis. Literally, this changes the game. You're definitely going to want to get Lux Algo if you want to get serious about trading. And I've seen people talk about trading and copy trading some of our community trades. Maybe some of you don't know what I'm talking about. On Fridays, every single Friday, we have been doing a community trade where we let you guys vote on what coin you want me to trade and what leverage you want me to use. Then we go to the charts. We look at what the coin looks like using Lux Algo. We're literally just making these trades based off of Lux Algo's tools. That's all we're using. Then we enter the trade, and one lucky winner gets to keep the profits, right? Well, first of all, we're making all the trades on Blofin. If you want to win, you got to sign up for Blofin. And if you want to copy trade those trades and look to make other trades just like them, check out ALGO again today. If you sign up, you have 30 days to decide if you actually like the tool or not. But you guys have watched me use this day in and day out for the last couple of months. It is lethal. We are 4 for 4 in our community trades. And here's the proposal. What would you guys think about a potential move to doing every single day a community trade where in our Discord, we actually decide with our Discord members what coin to trade and what leverage. We start every single show off by looking for a trade to enter. We go and we enter, and by the end of the week, we'll choose one lucky winner to win the profits of the entire week. Is that something you guys would want to do it daily, or you want to keep it to only one day on Fridays? Let me know in the comments right now what you're thinking. With that said, though,
let me see if I get this straight. So we start off Monday with a balance of say $50. We go leverage 20x leverage on Ethereum, right? Whatever happens with that, we just let it, and then at the same time, 3 p.m. the next day, then we take that balance and we leverage it again, different coin, same coin.
Yep.
But then by Friday, we have a balance. We've traded with good trading methodology. We're not just YOLOing it, or we're saying we're YOLOing it when we're YOLOing it. And then by Friday, we find out how much it's going to be and who's going to be the winner release that on Saturday.
Yeah, that's the proposal there. So we would start with $10 on Monday. So that's what we're going to start with $10, and then we'll have all week to trade with the community to see what we can turn that $10 into, and then give one lucky winner.
I like it.
Let's see here. Gustavo did ask, did Tim say what his expectation for graph was? I did. I said potentially maybe a pullback to 21, 22 cents, followed by a bigger rally closer to 50 cents is what I'm liking at this point. So keep your eyes on that.
I went to your screen there because I didn't want people to see the contortions that I was doing to be able to look at my shirt. But Gennaro Mena asked, T-Shroom, I like your shirt. Where'd you get it? This shirt is an Old Navy exclusive. So go to your local Old Navy retailer and click the link down in the description. Yeah. All of them. Just click all of the links and you will get one of these shirts shipped to you for free. Maybe.
Well, here we do. What we just proposed to make sure we get enough votes to do it. A, put a 1 in chat if you want us to do it. Put a 2 in chat if you want us to keep it at only 1 day a week. And then if you love it, you do got to join our Discord to be engaged with us making those trades. And then again, get Lux ALGO and get Blofin to be able to follow along as well and be able to learn and make those trades for yourself. With that said, what are some other tickers, T-Shroom, that people are suggesting?
Vchain. I'm actually interested to see what Vchain did too. Either Vchain or Comp or FET.ai.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a cool-off today after the rally we had yesterday. Big rally yesterday that took us up to our daily take profit. Cooling off today after hitting that red reversal. That's pretty normal here. What I'm going to go ahead and say here, as I'm looking at this smart tracer, keep an eye on it's going to be hard. So 4.1 cents is going to be interesting. Let's go to a lower time frame. Let's see what the order blocks. I'm sure there's going to be one sitting right here. Well, sure enough, we have a sell order on the 4 hour with a take profit and an order block coming in around 4.4 cents. But on the more macro, if we keep cooling off, again, look at where our green is here on the 4 hour chart. That's going to line up pretty nicely with this smart trail coming in. Again, it's rising. So let's talk about somewhere around or right beneath 4 cents for Vchain potential pullback scenario. Let's see what the oscillator is saying here on the daily chart. The money flow is kind of moving. It rallied, but it's moving sideways. There's kind of a mixed bag right there on Vchain. But again, I'm looking at more bullish moves for the next couple of weeks for a lot of these tokens. So I'm going to continue to say, let's see what the weekly chart's saying. I'm going to continue to say bullish. Look for a take profit higher end around 7 cents. We also have a hefty order block up there. But this one, because we're already in the take profit, I'm a little bit less bullish on. So somewhere between that 6 to 7 cent zone on the weekly chart is what I'm looking like is a good move. And again, pullbacks, minor pullback, what was the 4 hour chart? Let's see what the 4 hour chart was. Order block coming in around 4.4. Daily smart trail coming in again somewhere closer to 4 cents even. That's what I'm kind of looking at. I think we are talking about a bigger push to the upside, but a small pullback shorter term. Look for somewhere between 4 to 4.4 cents as your entry to make a run up closer to somewhere between 6 to 7 cents.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
I want to see before I move on. I want to see if there's any significance at level. Using Lux Algo there pretty nicely. And we talked about the potential move. We talked about the move up here towards closer to 7 cents. Let's see what fixed range is saying. Actually, let's just go ahead and do the fixed range and see if there's anything significant happening here. Not really. Little volume gap right there at 6 cents is going to be interesting. But then then you start talking about a lot more bullish stuff happening up towards 8 cents and then into 9 cents, and then value area highs coming in here at 13 cents. Let's focus on the more short term. Short term, again, that 4 to 4.4 cents up to about 6 to 7 cents is the more conservative zone to be watching out for bullish or bearish movements on Vchain.
I like it. I think that's pretty good, Tim.
Yeah.
Eric Wallen asking the real questions here. He's still stuck on Indians being Asian, which is accurate, and that was fact checked by GS.
The continent of Asia.
But he seems a little hurt that he got that one wrong. That's okay, because I got one wrong, guys. I mispronounced this name here. I'm going to give another go at it. I'm going to read the description first. I don't mean to be that guy. Hey, don't worry about it. You're that guy. It's okay. But ro. The G is silent. Okay. Oh, and makes the H sound. Hanaro Mina.
What are we talking
so
about?
Much.
His name, Hanaro. Okay. What
are we talking about? We're talking about
be that guy.
Giraffes.
But I didn't know what name we were talking about.
It's okay.
Let's see. Gustavo says, Tim, looking back at your prediction videos, i.e. Link, do you still have the same targets or have you changed your mind? Well, so there's been a couple predictions on Link that I've made. I'm telling you guys right now, I am close. If I hadn't made such a colossal mistake with changing my mind about Bitcoin getting at 50,000, I would change my mind now. But I'm so hesitant because when you do the charts and you find the good level, just because things don't go that direction one day doesn't mean something can't change the next day to go back to that. I still am watching a $9 Chainlink as an outside chance of a big fallback. So if you're talking about that price prediction, of all my predictions I've made, I'm closest to giving that one up and saying that the worst case scenario is closer to $14. But I'm waiting on that one. If you're talking about my more bullish prediction, I'm still holding on to that one. The bullish prediction I made on Chainlink is up to this zone, lower end $21.70, higher end $23. There's a couple reasons for this. Let's see if I can remember all of them. I don't keep the charts. I don't keep them updated all the time. See, it's not going to be able to be there. Other than the volume gap is going to be the low end of this one. Let's see what our other levels are coming in here. Fibonacci. Let's see what you're saying to me. I'm going to put Fibonacci. Yeah, we're going to see the 0.382 be right on that higher end. So that's kind of the zones we had in there. And then also we're coming in here. Let's turn on Lux Algo here as well. Let's turn on what these waves are kind of saying. Did we hit? We still have a take profit below us. Let's go to the weekly chart, though. We talked about that weekly chart. Ooh, weekly chart not as bullish. And I told you guys I like what the weekly chart's saying here on Chainlink. So am I going to change my mind? No, but I will say based off of what I am seeing here, what Lux Algo is saying, Lux Algo would say potentially I should change my mind. So I'm interested. I'm interested to see how that one is going to play out here. But I still think there's a decent chance that we make this move up at least towards $21. There's another reason I'm struggling to remember what it was, because I would not have made that strong prediction based off of just 2 indicators, but I can't remember what the third one's going to be. I'll have to get back to you. On that one. But I still think bullish scenario, that would still fit in line with a lot of the bullish other calls that I've made. That would make sense for Link to make a pop up. That's just another 14% from where we currently are. I still think that's doable.
What, correct? Do you agree with this, Tim? It seems like Link likes to, it's the canary in the coal mine, right? You'd agree generally. It's kind of predicted, or it's pre-run the major moves of their larger crypto market, Bitcoin. Yeah. It seems to be, and this is going completely off my emotional history, which is probably useless, but it seems to be when the crypto market kind of lulls you to sleep, there's not a whole lot going on, Chainlink's boom, just skyrockets. Now
Chainlink has been a great front runner of rallies. It kind of got the ball rolling back in September, October, way back here again. And then we had a significant breakthrough and everything else seemed to follow. And then it got boring there for months while everything else was really exciting. And then here again, late January, it kind of got the ball rolling again. And then everything else started to pump. So We'll have to wait and see for sure. Again, I'm massively bullish on Chainlink. I have long-term price predictions for Chainlink potentially shooting. I can't. What was the exact number? I need to put it back on here, but I want to say we talked about a potential somewhere above $600 to $800 Chainlink if everything goes according to plan, and nothing at this point is changing my mind on that. Like nothing's happened that's made me say, "Oh yeah, Chainlink actually isn't going to have as good of a bull market," like what's happened with XRP. Remember XRP? I was super bullish on XRP. I've since cooled off on how bullish I am. With Chainlink, I'm super bullish on it, and I have no reason at this point to calm down, to cool off. Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying I can't. There's obviously things that can happen. That's something that, if you want to find another channel where they make predictions and then die with those predictions and refuse to give them up based off of pride, be my guest. I see that as a benefit that T-Shroom and I kind of offer, that when we make predictions, if something happens that changes our mind, we're not going to be so prideful to say, no, I'm going to stick to my original one just to be a sticking up my butt. No, like I'm going to change my opinions on things. I'm going to make predictions and change predictions based off of new incoming information. To me, that seems like the wise way to approach the markets and something that a logical person should do. Yeah. But to each his own, you guys can do whatever you want.
It's like NFT projects. It's like is like the strongest emotional connection that you can have with an investment, and that actually, in my opinion, plays against you. Like when you're buying NFTs, if you're not aware that you're buying this NFT of like a cute giraffe, like a giraffe that you like, it's harder to sell that than it is a single H bar, right? A single coin of H bar, because you don't have that emotional connection with like the little character there and the little Now I might be insulting some people. I don't mean to be insulting anybody, but I myself would have more trouble selling an NFT that I've kind of, especially if I'm in the community and I have some kind of leadership role in that. Now, there's some NFT projects that are going to absolutely moon in this next bull cycle, right? So I'm not telling you to sell your NFTs. What I'm saying, to illustrate Tim's point, is like, somebody was saying that we're mature traders. I'm not, but we're getting there.
One of those your definition of mature, I think has a very up and down definition.
One of the badges of maturity that Tim and I do wear, and you'll notice this, is that we don't get very emotional about what projects we're invested in. Not even with Bitcoin. With Cardano, there's a little bit of a soft spot, I'll admit that. But with Bitcoin even, it's like, this is an economic decision for me. That's why I got into Bitcoin in the first place, as a hedge against my trading portfolio. Now, I've been educated since then, and I look at Bitcoin quite a bit differently than just a hedge. But, it's very important to limit the relationship that you have with your investments so that you're not falling in love with a crap coin. Ultimately, that's the biggest risk. And we do see that from time to time whenever we're kind of surveying the larger crypto industry, the larger crypto communities out there. So,
yeah. Well, let's close up the show here with one more coin, T-Shirt. What was the one you said you wanted me to take a look at?
Compound.
I thought you said Cosmos, so I was looking at Atom. So
yeah, Sergio called it out. Enero Mena said,
Compound.
What is Compound? So he wants to know even what it is. And then we had somebody else. Nobody talks about comp. They don't.
Well, today we're nobody because we're going to talk about comp. So T-Shroom, I think I saw this on your chart. Good observation here. A little bit of a symmetrical triangle kind of leading into this. I went down to this zone. You can try to choose whichever one you want to go with here. Ultimately, not too worried about. We have a couple of wicks above and below. I'm drawing it like this in case anyone's wondering why I chose this formation for my resistance level, because I didn't quite get that. I could fix this and just put that right there. But of course, there's that wick right there that goes up a little above it. Ultimately, you want the most touches to kind of communicate the significance of it, and especially when you're going back in analysis to look at this. Touch right here for resistance. Overwhelmingly, the candles close right there, touches right there. But then look, when we have a breakthrough, look at the retracements come to. All the candles close on that line. So I'm going to keep that as my level of why that resistance is breaking out that way. Theoretically speaking, I'm not saying we have to get this big of a move, but very basic technical analysis would say you take the opening of this formation, you move it over to the most recent bounce off of support, or in this case, now you have a breakthrough, so we touch right there. This, again, take this with a grain of salt. I want to see what else is out here, but this would say Compound should rally to $148.29 That would be amazing. Not quite a 100% rally from where price currently is, but pretty amazing. About a 80% push to the upside. I'm going to leave that line there. Let's see if anything else comes in and tries to find some confluence there. Let's take a look at fixed range volume. Let's go to all-time high throughout all of this. Point of control, kind of perfect right there, support. We're looking at volume here. Now that line's going to come in pretty close to a volume gap. Let's do this. Let's look at all of the projects. Let's see if that same gap exists. No, not quite. That gap gets a little closer up here to $265. So you are getting really close to some peak here. And it's not the volume area high, and it's not the point of control, but this would be the borderline second or third level of point of control where we're coming up and finding some confluence right there. Let's see what the Fibonacci is saying about this bad boy. You will see at this point, getting out of this volume gap here, the next level, next shelf is going to come in here on 104. Mm-hmm. Holy cow. Yeah, we are very drastically oversold still. This is the logarithmic chart, so that's why we're not even close back up to 0.236. Let's go from the last significant peak back here in March of 2022. We're kind of wrestling with that 0.382. This level would get us up to the platinum pocket, but golden pocket around 124, 122. It's going to be interesting. Also the 0.5. Here's what I'll say. Oh, yeah, I know why I didn't see that sooner. All right, so in the volume, I told you guys the next shelf kind of sitting up here on 101, 102 area. Look at how we have significant support that is untapped, meaning after bouncing at this level back in early March of 2022 and rallying up to 174, give or take, we fell down, never retesting this level. So $100, $99, that level, I see multiple reasons to believe that that's going to be a serious level to watch for resistance, at least temporarily, which means bullish. Like if you're looking, here's the thing. I'm not going to recommend anyone go and enter a leveraged long right now on Compound. Why? Because we've rallied here pretty significantly. There's a decent chance we're going to get some sort of a cool off. But spot buy, I think, could be phenomenal, or maybe just a very small 1.5x, 2x to try to wait for it, because I don't think we're going to drop 50% before making that move up to that level. So it could be an interesting one. That's kind of the more traditional TA. Let's take a look at what Lux is saying out here on the daily chart. We've already hit our take profit on the daily for sure. So it's kind of saying, daily chart saying cool off. Lowest or highest order block coming in back around $50. That's a pretty significant pullback. Let's see what 4-hour chart's saying. It's going to say a more realistic pullback would be somewhere around 68, 67. You do see that smart trail coming in here, kind of saying we're more talking about $70, give or take 72 for a pullback. But I told you weekly chart is where I'm looking at a lot of coins, wondering what's next. Weekly chart kind of coming up here. Don't have enough of a project, a weekly chart to get a take profit or a stop loss suggestion, but the bottom of our red reversal band coming in here at 118, right in that golden pocket. So a lot of levels I talked about there. Ultimately, what I'm looking at is saying, guys, look for moves up towards that golden pocket, above at least to 100, if not up to 120 or higher. But before that happens, pull back. High end somewhere around $72, low end somewhere here on $67. That's when I would say if you're looking for a long position, you want to wait for a pullback of that level before you enter into a leverage long on Compound. But I like what this coin is doing overall, unless the fundamentals on this coin suck, which I am getting from T-Shroom and the community. They don't. This is a massively oversold token that could be a great one to buy up some spot if you believe in it long term for a massive bull run in the future.
Now,
how far we wait? Like if we just rematched all time high, what would this be? Like let's just say we double top all time high. That is a nice over 11x. I am not here to give financial advice, but any coin that's a potential safe 10x is one that I would be buying.
See, this is why I have been talking about this coin, Tim. And now, so like my biggest gripe with it was it wasn't doing anything. It was just stable coining. But here's the thing, guys. I've been very bullish on this. Bros will know because it is the lowest cap crypto that's listed on Robinhood, right? Now, is it the best coin ever? Is it going to deliver the most amount of value? I don't know, but it is a DeFi coin, right? It's a DeFi coin that has kind of been there's a lot of DeFi coins, right? It's a DeFi project. You can borrow and you can use it as collateral within their ecosystem. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm the expert on Compound and DeFi. I'm not, right? But when it's the smallest cap crypto on Robinhood when Robinhood is unwilling to list Cardano and Matic, you have to ask, is Compound kind of in the good graces of Wall Street? Is this the king that they're picking to be the DeFi coin for the next age of finance? I'm not going to go that far and say that, but that's kind of how I think about Robinhood a little bit. It's hard not to, right? Because they don't have any coins that are controversial, or at least they've shielded their investors from that. They don't even have Solana. You can send USDC over Solana and Matic, but they don't have Solana or Matic or Cardano or BNB, which is a little more understandable. But they don't have BNB either. Like, there's just a lot of coins that they're like, scratching your head, like, why isn't that on there? Compound's on there. And anyway, not to beat a dead drum. And guys, don't go out and make foolish financial decisions based on what we just showed. We just presented a very bullish argument for a single coin. Be aware of that. You just got exposed to that. That's okay. But don't go out and make a stupid decision, right? Continue to do research. I like Compound. I do hold a good bit of it.
Cool. Very, very cool. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up our show today. Thank you to each and every single last one of you for joining. Make sure to smash the like button on your way out. How many likes are we sitting at now? We don't ask that much. We don't beg for likes throughout the show, but we would like to get them. 73, even though we still have 120 watching. I saw we got up to like 160 at one point. You guys, I'm going to say that there's like 70 of you that have not smashed like yet.
Smash it.
And I'm gonna ask you nicely to smash the like button. I'm also gonna ask you, if you haven't hit subscribe, to hit subscribe button as well. If you enjoyed this episode and you enjoyed the Investing Bros, and we are your kind of bros you want to hang out with, we got some great content out there. We produce 3 different pieces of content every single day to keep you guys up to date with what's happening. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join our Discord. Tomorrow, I think there's enough support to say we're gonna start our community trading daily tomorrow, but you got to be in the Discord to vote on what you want us to do. With that said, you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you in Discord. I'll see the rest of you tomorrow. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shouted out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.